Hello, hello. Hi, everybody. um, Hello, Kapayako. Hi, AC. Hi, Omega. Hello, everyone. Thank you. How are we all doing today? We're gonna be I'm gonna be doing another tutorial today. So, um, I'm healed. That's good. I'm glad you're already starting to feel better. But I think the fact that you healed so quickly is more confirmation that you got sick because you ate it. That shake. My best bet. Good morning. Yes. All right. Good afternoon. For me, it's afternoon. But good day to everyone. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing another tutorial today. Um, so cold. I hate winter. Oh, I wish it was colder in my area. I mean, it's starting to get a little bit more cold, but not as cold as I don't know. I was expecting it to get. But yeah, today's lesson is going to be over. Excuse me. Making a palette. Yay! Let me pull up my notes real quick. Also, how's the music? It's not too loud, right? I want it to kind of like be in the background noise. Like not too overwhelming to where you can't clearly hear my voice. It's hood. Good. I was about to say, like, is this another New Yorker slang that I'm not aware of? So, but like last time, like the previous times, Kevin, if you all have any questions, comments, or concerns about what I'm talking about or what I'm saying, let me know, so I can answer it. Otherwise, let's get into it. So, one thing that you might have noticed is that when you're doing any form of digital art, pixel art, or digital art in general, um, some people make what is called a palette, and a palette, is obviously just like your array of colors that you're using for your picture. Um, and an important thing to know is that whenever you're doing art, especially in pixel art, you want to keep your palette clean. You want to keep it simple. You want to keep it clean, simple, and you want it to look good, obviously, because there are right ways to make a palette and there are wrong ways to make a palette. Um, so the first thing that we're going to talk about are the three things that you can do when you know making a palette. So most colors, and you can see it down here when you're like in a sprite. If you click one of the bars, you'll get RGB here, but you can also tell it to go to make sure y'all seeing, yeah. The second panel, oh god, the second panel here is HSV, which is hue saturation. And they use Sprite uses V. I think that stands for, I'm not sure what the V stands for, but it's basically your brightness. It's essentially brightness. Um and then this A right now is like opacity. So it's like how opaque the image is, but we're not gonna worry about that. But the three core attributes that you're looking for when you're making a palette is hue, saturation, and brightness. Hue, as you can see here by the example, is just the color. When you're not including anything else into it, hue is simply just the color you want. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, pink, those are hues. Um, the rainbow, essentially. Saturation is how intense that color is that you're working with. So I grabbed like a bluish color, and by adjusting the saturation, you can see that it's becoming, it's like it's less and less intense as you go higher in the saturation. And then brightness is, well, how light or dark the color is. And you might be wondering, like, isn't that what saturation is? No, saturation is how intense the color is. Brightness is how light or dark the color is. That's the difference. Um, but most of the time, whenever you're making a palette, you're gonna be well. We'll get to it, but you're gonna be working on all three of these to get your palette going. Um, and general rule that I can say with like when you're working with saturation, um, is that if saturation is important depending on like what kind of style you're trying to work with. I've noticed lately that I tend to work with more lower saturations. Or no, I tend to work. Sorry, I work with a higher saturation but lower brightness. Um, because if you have things that have like high saturation, those are usually things that you're gonna see in like cartoons and anime, like things that like when you want to really pop out. This is why in like a lot of kids shows, um, hi Archangel, a lot of like kid shows, a lot of the characters, if you'll notice, have like high saturation. It's because they're trying to get the attention of the kids, to watch it and everything. While if you have low saturation, that usually is a sign that you want things to be more realistic. And you can see this more with like if you look at like Fire Emblem art and stuff like that. They tend to have more lower saturation. Um, Not gonna lie, I thought brightness and saturation was the same. Yep, that's what most people think. Most people assume that they are the exact same thing, but no, they are different. Yeah, they are definitely used together, but they are different. Um, it's because saturation. The best way to put it is that it is the intensity of the color. Which I mean, once again, it might come off as like, but wait, isn't this getting lighter? No, this blue isn't getting lighter. It's just becoming less intense, which makes it come off as if it is, it makes it come off as if it's like getting lighter, but in actuality, it's the same color. It's just getting more or less intense. Um, while brightness is like this is actually just like getting darker or lighter. Um, but yeah, so low saturation is usually just like, trying to make it more realistic looking or just more somber, having a more chill, laid out vibe to it. In essence, like high saturation can also be viewed as being like hot, and then low saturation is more cold, if that makes sense. And then brightness can also is mainly used to help invoke emotion. Same with hue. Hue is also used for emotion because I'll get back to that in a second. Let me finish brightness. Brightness, like if something has little to no brightness on it, or if it like is very bright, if it is very light in color, that can usually evoke like more safe, gentle like feelings, but depending on the color. Um, because red, and this is going back to hue, red is a very aggressive color. It can be a very passionate or aggressive color. So in general, even if you have a red that is very light, that's going to be very aggressive. But if we take let me take blue here and let's adjust the brightness on the blue because blue in conjuncture that's wrong thing. Blue is a more chill, calming color. There we go. So as I make it darker, it can become a little bit more unnerving, or it's like the calm before the storm. It looks a little bit more creepy. So that's what brightness is mainly going to be used for, right? It's just like to evoke emotion, either a more safe environment are a more dangerous environment, vibe feel to it. But yeah, going back to hue, because we all know that hue, which is just like the color, just that is just the simple basic color. Um, Colors have different emotions. They can make us feel different things. Like I said, for red is a very vibrant, bright color. It usually can evoke feelings of passion or aggression. While blue is a more chill, laid back color. Usually when you see blue colors, it can be more relaxing, more calming, more gentle. Um, that's why, like, for example, if you're on a plane, you know how they have the lights that they turn on in the plane when you're like taking off or landing or stuff like that? Usually those colors are blue. And they make it blue because they want to keep the passengers calm and at ease. Um, Yellow is yellow makes you think of the sun. So it's very another bright, vibrant color. Um, and then purple can be a more mysterious color. Um, it can invoke mystery, subtleness. If you see like a purple cloud, it's like, oh, what's in there? Um, what else? Oh, this is also common with like, let's take anime for example, right? So usually in anime, characters tend to have a certain hair color, and that's for a reason. Um, because it can also tell the player, it can tell the viewer the general like vibe of that character. So, like you'll see anime where you have like a hot-headed or a tomboyish character and she'll usually have like red or orangish hair. If you have the Genki girl or the character that's very hyperactive, they tend to have green hair. If you have a character that's more like shy or keeps to themselves, they tend to have like blue hair that's like a darker blue hair. Um, if a character is divine are important, they tend to have white hair because white is purity. Um, oh, and then yellow. This is like I don't know if anime does this anymore, but like back in my day, if you're watching an anime and the character had blonde hair, I was usually there to help show that the character was different. They were either a tourist or um American are, in other cases, like a Garu, so, like, a character that's very rebellious. Um, so depending on, like, the media that you're going for, the colors can have different meanings to them. So, whenever you're making the colors, if you're making a color palette for your character or anything like that, definitely think about, like, what general vibe do you wanna give to your boomer. Yes, I'm a boomer, yes. I am old. And that's why, like, for example, that's why, if you look at, like, my character, Magnus, um, that's why a lot of my colors are like, you see pinks, purples, dark blues, yellows. Yellow because, like, the reason why my eyes are yellow is because it's to help bring you into them. Because between all the other colors of my palette, yellow's definitely the one that sticks out the most. It's the most bright. So it's to help lure people in. It's like a predator thing, where it's like it's more likely that people are gonna look me in the eyes. And with the black sclera around it, it really just like pulls you in. Um And also the reason why my hair is pink, is also kind of just like an anime reference in that, and it's very common that if you have, doesn't work on me. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it once again, colors can mean different things to different people. So, um, so like, what was I gonna say? Oh, right. Yandere's, at least in anime that I'm used to, yandere's tend to have pink hair. It's kind of like that moe gap, like because pink is such a cutesy, girly color, but then the character's like insane. So it's kind of like that. It's like it's to throw people off, really. It's like it hits that moe gap, so that's why my hair is pink. It's supposed to be like, oh, she's so cutesy and stuff, and it's like, no, she's like an eldritch abomination. It's horrifying. Um, so yeah. Um, so before we move on, any questions? Because now you might be wondering, Magnus, what does all this have to do with making a palette? Well, it has everything to do with making a palette. Because if you want to make a palette, you have to work with both hue, saturation, and brightness. It makes me simp more. That's good. And so, a common thing that a lot of artists do when making a palette is a thing called, or sorry, I made this slide right here. I forgot about this one. But yeah, different colors can evoke different emotions. Will this be on the test? Yes, it will be on the test. You better be paying attention. But yeah, I drew this up to kind of like show you how like different colors can evoke different emotions. Um, you know, yellow being more bright and vibrant, more welcoming. Red can be more hostile and aggressive. Blue or purples are more chilled and laid back. And then green like has this like weird in between, you know, but it's a more natural color. Because when you think of green, when you think of greens, you think of like, you think of nature. So anyway, sorry. One thing, it's all about emotion. It's all about emotion. Emotion. So, a common thing that a lot of artists do, myself included, when they're making a palette is they do a thing called hue shifting. And like I said before, hue shifting is combining all three of these together. Messing with the hue, saturation, and brightness is how you hue shift. And there's a right and wrong way to do it. So let's look at this top example right here. And I put a check mark. So this is a good example of hue shifting. This is a bad example. Because right here, all I've done here is I just messed with the saturation. That's not hue shifting. This is an okay palette right here. But like this one catches your eye more, right? This one's a more interesting palette. Because not only am I adjusting the saturation and the darkness or brightness of the color, I'm also adjusting the hue of it. So, as it gets lighter, it's also as the red is getting lighter, it's more becoming like it goes from red to orange to a yellow. And so this looks more pleasing to the eye. This looks more interesting to the eye. And if we go down here, once again, this is a good example of this is a bad example of a hue shift. This is a better example of hue shifting. Um, and once again, it's going with the messing with all terms. So like as this purple is becoming darker, it's shifting from a purple to like a more bluish more dark blue. But once again, this isn't a bad palette right here by no means. It's not a horrible one, but this one just looks more interesting. Now, here's one I did that is like a clear example of how this right here, in my opinion, is just not a good palette. Like, I would not advise doing a palette like this. The colors are way too similar to each other. It's really hard to tell the difference. If I zoom out, if I'm like, because remember, pixel art is small, generally small. If I zoom out, I cannot easily tell the difference between these colors here. But this one down here, now this one is a lot better. That's a way better example. I'm looking at this palette. I can tell a difference between the colors, and there's just more vibrant. There's more life to this palette than there is this one. So this is one that I'm saying that I would feel like this is just a bad palette. This is I would not don't have a palette like this. um also hi Farthar. And so a general rule, I set this up too. A general rule when you are hue shifting is that if you're making your colors brighter or if you're making your shades lighter, you want to go towards yellow. And if you're making your shades more darker, you want to generally go more towards a purple or blue color, either or. And so I kind of show this here to show you how I'm combining the two together. So, yeah, as you're making it lighter, as this red is becoming more lighter, I'm directing it more towards yellow. And while the red is becoming darker, I'm directing it more towards a purple. And same with blue. Now it's already blue, but blue is going to shift more towards like a purple. And then if you're making it lighter and you're trying to get it more towards yellow, it's just going to become more like aquamarine, essentially. And same with green. Green, as it goes more towards blue, or purple, it becomes more of like a teal, a darker teal. While if you go higher in saturate or in shade, it's going to become, and it heads more towards yellow. It becomes more like lime, there. And once again, use this color wheel at the bottom to your advantage. Anytime you pick a color, um, whatever it may be, just remember that like if it's red, then if I want to make it lighter, I'm gonna head more to the right to make it more yellow. If it's darker, I'm gonna head to the left to make it go more towards a blue or purple. And also another trick or another common mistake that I see a lot of that you see a lot of artists do is whenever you're working with like whites and blacks. And my general rule is that unless you're doing an outline or something, you never want to truly just like use a white or black color. Um like you don't want to just like use what's the like yeah, the color code like FFFFF or 00000. I don't think you ever reasonably want to use that unless you're doing an outline. And so a common thing I see a lot of people, myself included, I did this too. But like I'm like, oh, I need a black color or gray. So I'm gonna take the white, like right here, I'm gonna use white. And I'm just gonna like on the slider over here, I'm just gonna go straight down. Like that. Just straight down. This is what I used to do. And that's fine. Like this is still okay. Obviously, this is still fine. But the more general that I do whenever I'm working with more like darker colors, like blacks and stuff like that, is I'll take the white and then I'll like move my color picker more to like a blue or purple shade. And then I will like go down still, but I'll pull it in more towards the color so that it's still becoming gray because whenever you have a darker blue or a darker purple, it can come off as the power of this is the power of grays, right? It can come off as more of like a darker black color. Cause like right here, like this color right here, this is more of a purple, or it's more of like a purplish blue. But because it's so dark, it's coming off more as like a black shade. So the top one here, this one's fine, but this one just looks more, I don't know, I think it's better. I think this one just looks more appeasing to the eye, especially when you're doing the artwork, right? Mm. But yeah, so that's the general rule. And so last thing I'm gonna talk about here, I got this little bunny here, and I set up this like palette right over, right up here, right. Let me fill in the bunny. Oh, on the wrong layer. Let me go ahead and fill in the base colors. So I'm gonna do that. It has a bow. We're gonna make the bow red. We're gonna make the ears pink. Yeah, and there you go. And like once again, because I'm doing an outline, I'm making the outline black. It's the only black that I'm gonna be using here. I'm going to get rid of some of the outlines here. Fill it in. I'll keep the black around the actual outline of the rabbit, but for now, I'm just going to do this. I came here to learn about portions and herbal remedies, not how to shape my paint projects. Well, too bad. That's what we're talking about. I'm gonna get. Oh my! I'm gonna get my red eyes. So now we can do some shading, right? Starting the bow. But actually, before I do anything more with that shading, there is one final trick here that you can do whenever you have a palette. You don't have to do this, but it is very nice because once again, like I said at the start, you want to make sure your palette for your drawing, your art is as simple as it can be. Less is more. So a cool thing that you can do is that once you have your palette, you can do a thing called color bridging, which is basically just like, hey, these two colors are like really similar to each other. So instead of just like having both of them at the same time, why don't I just be like, you know what? These are close enough. I'm just gonna make that the same color, you know? And so now, whenever I get the general palette, I've brought it down one color. Hi, King Rooney. Thank you. So it simplified it a little bit more. And once again, it does help. It does help. And also, I can even just like get away with like doing that. Honestly, those colors are similar enough to each other. You can just do that as well. But yeah, this is like good practice because it just it you want to simplify your pixel, your palette. You always want to do your best to simplify your palette, especially if you're doing animation, because the less colors you have to keep track of, the better. It helps immensely. So now that I have a more simplified palette, let's go ahead and finish up this bunny. And honestly, right here, I'm gonna get rid of that gray because once again, I don't think I really need it. Oh, hold on. And once again, as I stated before, even though the bunny is a white bunny, right? It's a white rabbit. I am making sure that the my white and grays are not like exactly white and gray. They are different tones of blue. So this is it is gray, but it's technically like a just a blue that has less saturation, is more dark. Um, blue? Yeah. Yeah. So like this gray right here, like I was talking about, to make it look better with the palette and to just make it look more, I don't know, nice, is that instead of just like my grays are just a blue that has low that has like a little bit less saturation and more less dark or less brightness on it. Let's color the bunny's face. I'm gonna give her red eyes. Yeah, pink eyes. Thank you for the head pats. To make this. There we go. And then let me get the ears here real quick. Now I think about it, once again, I don't even need this color. Further simplify the palette. I'm gonna give it an eyeshadow here just because I want to look creepy. The killer rabbit. You might think it looks cute, but it's a killer. And also, once again, as I've learned, I am a type of artist where I definitely love working with I like working with the darkness. I like darker colors, darker shades. I like doing stuff like this because it feels nicer to me. I like the dark and macabre, so it comes out in my art a lot. Yeah, it's fine. And there's a little bit too much dark here, so I'm gonna like pull this down a little bit more. Yeah, that's like adorably horrifying. I'm also gonna darken this side a little bit. Because I'm pretending as if the hi Sylvia, I'm pretending as if the light, my light source is coming from over here. And there you go. How's it going? It's going very well. Thank you for asking. Hope you're good. But yeah, so that's how. So once again, I really died down the palette because originally this palette was 12. It was 12 colors, but through color bridging, we brought it down to a more comfortable, a more manageable um 8 colors. So once again, like that's a lot better. Like that's more simple to work with. It's less to worry about, but it still works. And then how we can like combine them together. Um, how we can combine the colors together to get a more simplified palette, so it's easier for us to draw and not have to worry too much about the because like less is more. Less is more. It's always about making sure that you have less is more. But yeah. Oh no, you're fine, Sylvia. Yeah, I'm doing a tutorial. I'm doing a quick tutorial. I'm about to end stream. This is just a tutorial I'm doing. But yeah, so there you go, guys. So thank you so much. I hope this helped a little bit. I hope this was a helpful video. Or I guess not video. I guess I hope this was a helpful session here. Um, hope I learned you something. But yeah, go out there and make some cool palettes. You're thank you for vibing. I'm gonna end stream and then I'm gonna start back up again. Um, but yeah, I will be posting this on my YouTube. So if anyone wants to rewatch it or just anything like that, then it'll be up over there. But thank you all so much for hanging out. Thank you so much for listening. I hope it was helpful today. Um, can be scary at first, but definitely with a little bit of practice and just knowing these small little details, it can help immensely. So yeah. All right. I'll see y'all for anyone on YouTube, thanks for watching. And anyone in the chat right now, I'll see y'all in a little bit. So thank you. Bye.